Good morning, everybody. It is February 6th, 8:30 a.m. Starting a little later today. My daughter has a delay because of snow in her school. Um, anyway, let's talk about these markets, right? Now, yesterday we moved higher, went lower, then moved higher. And at first, beginning of the day, let's just put up my internals real quick. At the beginning of the day, right here, this market right off the open was a little weak, recovered quickly, and then it was like in no man's land. There wasn't strong, it wasn't weak, and then it just got stronger and stronger as the day went. Okay, you could see tech ended up 1.31% off the open, right? Led the way with semis and Nvidia, right? In this area here, I got long, got out at break even, re-entered, got out at break even, and then that was the low. My stop would have never got hit. Lesson learned. That was my favorite setup. And I let the volatility spook, and I didn't have any reason to get out. Usually, I use ticks to judge if I'm going to move my stop or not. Ticks were not showing me any kind of weakness. It was just the volatility of the candle. And yeah, I was up 6 points. Um, and then, yeah, it ripped up for the rest of the day. So, lesson learned there. But that's what happened with the market yesterday. All right, back to this. All right, now we have Amazon earnings after the close today. And we had Eli Lilly report this morning. Okay, that's the big one for healthcare. Yesterday, after the close, we had Qualcomm, ARM, Aflac, a couple of those Ford reported. All right, now this market, right, erased DeepSeek, erased the tariff decline. It's just going higher. And like I said earlier, that tariff stuff, well, that Canada and Mexico caved in, that just kind of erased that. And let's see what happens going forward. Now, I did see that they're trying to ban DeepSeek app in America. Let's see how that works out. But without further ado, we have jobless claims this morning. Let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets along supply and demand. I think I said gamma, but I'm saying gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That's my edge. That's how I look at the market. All those levels get reactions all the time, or I wouldn't have them on my charts. Okay, and I just hope to share that with you. Okay, hope to share this with you, and hopefully you enjoy the analysis. Now, hopefully you can join me every day and do this around. Let's just say I do it every morning. Some days with my daughter's school, it might change a little bit, like today. But I give you the market news, the story of the market, leaders and laggards, all right, economic calendar, and we get into some long and short trade scenarios later on around 8. Well, I'm not going to say 8:30 today because it's already past that. And I give you long and short trade scenarios. Okay, once the market opens up, new data comes out, and I have to analyze. If I put a trade on and it's educational, I will post it. I'll make a reel and post it to my YouTube Shorts. Okay, I'll also post it to my X account at Gonzo719 and my TikTok Gonzo719 Trader. All right, and my new community Discord server, Confluence Trading. Please come join it. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and join the community. All right. Now, if you enjoy my content, please smash that like button. Wait to the end if you want, but your help is much appreciated with the smashing like button. All right. Now, let's move on and see what's moving markets here. All right, Bitcoin's getting some love today. I did see MicroStrategy had some news. Let's look at it. Bitcoin's up 1.44%, followed by Ethereum up 1.15. Crude's up 0.58. The dollar's up 0.36. 10-year yield is up 0.25. ES is up 0.21. Russell's up 0.19. The VIX is up 0.13. Dow is up 0.08. Nasdaq's flat. 30-year bonds slightly being sold. Gold is down 0.24. Silver is down 1.34. All right, that's what's going on with the futures. Let's move on to the Mag 7 Plus. All right, let's see who's leading. Nvidia. Nvidia is starting to go crazy again, right? Up 1.79%. Went over, hit 125 yesterday. That was a large gamma level. And now it's over it. It's at 127. So interesting, right? Coinbase getting some love with Bitcoin up 1.77. Broadcom's up 1.13. Amazon reports earnings today at their close up 0.83. Eli Lilly reported earnings and they're up 0.63. All right. Is there laggards today? Apple down 0.42. Google down 0.61. AMD down 0.63. And Tesla. Boy, Tesla's just being a laggard here. I have a couple long positions on that, and it's not. And I thought it was coming alive the other day, when it peaked above like 392, almost 394, and then it just fell apart. So that's what's going on there. Moving on, top sector stocks. Let's see who's leading the pack. Uber reported earnings before the open yesterday. They are up 1.09%. Walmart's up 0.47. Goldman Sachs up 0.46. Exxon up 0.38. Snowflake up 0.31. Now, laggard is Salesforce, down 1.34%. The big laggard of the day, Qualcomm. Qualcomm reported after the close yesterday. They are down 5.61%. 5.61%. Let's go into my little swing trade list here. It's a little more granularity in the market. Let's see who's leading here. Ralph Lauren up 12%. Philip Morris, who reported earnings this morning, up 8.45. Hershey finally getting love. Reported earnings before the open, up 4.85. AstraZeneca, I believe, also reported earnings. They are up 4.19. SoundHound up 2.53. Supermicro Computers up 2%. JetBlue up 1.96. Riot up 1.79. Probably going to get a bunch of crypto Bitcoin related stuff here. Carvana, Vertiv up, Mara, or I think it's Allstate or Ally Bank. I can't remember now. But that's about it here. I'm going to move over to laggards. Woo. Wow. So Skyworks down 26.8%. Why is that? Man. Guess they had earnings, and whatever they were not good. Wow. And Roblox reported before the open today. They are down 20.68%. Wow. Viking Therapeutics down 7.16. Ford reported after the close yesterday. They are down 5.89. Bristol Myers Squibb down 5.38. ARM reported yesterday after the close. They are down 4.56. Goose, Canada Goose down 4.14. I think that's Becton Dixon. Honeywell reported earnings. Well, I believe they're down 3.19. Hims has had a meteoric rise. I regret not buying some of that. Still down 3.1%. All right, Wayfair. I think that's Wayfair. Down 2.71. And I think that's Bosch Health. Down 2.59. And TransUnion, I believe, is down 1.54. All right. There you go there. Wow, Roblox getting killed. All right. Let's go switch back over here. And we're going to go to the sectors. And Staples. All right. Staples leading the pack. Trying to see why. Walmart. But like even that. All right. So Staples leading the pack. That's definitely not a risk-on environment when Staples are leading the pack. Financials up 0.39, and then you just healthcare's barely up, energy's barely up, discretionary barely up, and everything else is flat. All right, so you could see already this market is not super strong, not super weak. It's kind of lollygagging. Okay. Now, moving on to the economic calendar. Let's look at that together. All right. Today we have initial jobless claims at 8:30, and then we got some Fed speak. Tomorrow's the big day. Non-farm payrolls, unemployment, and the Michigan consumer sentiment. All right. So that's what's tomorrow. If you want to look at earnings, and we're going to look at what this morning I already said: Eli Lilly, Roblox, ConocoPhillips, Peloton, Hershey, Bristol-Myers Squibb, all this morning. Philip Morris. Now, after the close today, Amazon, Cloudflare, Affirm, Fortinet, Pinterest. All right. Before the open tomorrow, is there anything really? Not really. Not really. All right, let's go back to the economic calendar and we're going to look at some news. So let's look at some of this news together. Ford stock fell 5.5 after the auto giant forecast weaker annual profit at a time when the threat of U.S. tariffs on Canada and Mexico, which have been temporarily paused, continues to stoke uncertainty. Qualcomm stock slid 4.1 after the semiconductor company forecast no revenue growth for its lucrative patent licensing business in 2025 after its license with China's Huawei expired. The segment was expected to represent another leg of growth for the company. Wow. ARM Holdings stock fell 3.7 after the chip designer earnings outlook for the current quarter was in line with expectations, denting hopes that AI demand will spur outside sales. Eli Lilly stock rose 0.7 after the drug maker posted a surge in fourth quarter revenue, thanks in part to a spike in demand for its obesity treatment, Zepbound. Bristol Myers stock fell 4.5 after the drug maker's guidance for 2025 missed expectations. Under Armour stock soared 8.3 after the sportswear retailer raised its forecast for annual profit. Philip Morris stock rose 7% after the tobacco giant reported better than expected fourth quarter revenue. Hershey stock rose 3.5 after the chocolate maker reported fourth quarter earnings that surpassed expectations. And Canada Goose stock fell 4% after the winter wear retailer missed estimates for quarterly revenue. Now, let's see if there's anything else in here. Honeywell to separate aerospace and automation businesses and latest corporate breakup. Let's see here. China challenges Trump's tariffs at WTO. Package shippers warn of chaos. China filed a World Trade Organization complaint on Wednesday against U.S. President Donald Trump's new 10% tariff on Chinese imports. Wow. Okay. I know the Bank of England. Let's see here. Here we go. Britain's FTSE 100 also scaled to an all-time peak after the Bank of England cut interest rates by a quarter of a percentage point. Interesting. I just want to see if there's anything else here that I really didn't talk about that's really going to move markets or let's see. Ford Motor RBC cuts target price from 10. Qualcomm TD Cowen raises target price to 185 and 180. Uber Moffett Nathanson raises target price to 109 from 97. Walt Disney raises target price to 130 from 128. All right. Now into the juice. Okay. Yesterday says law or not yesterday? No, today. Lawmakers to introduce bill to ban DeepSeek app from U.S. government devices. Wall Street Journal. Interesting. And the U.S. jobless claims, they already came out. Let's see, it was actually 219, forecast 213. Okay. All right. I think we're done. We can get into some upgrades, downgrades, I guess. Let's look at those real quick. Well, there's not a lot of upgrades there. Let me make sure that that's really weird. All right, downgrades. A lot of downgrades here. Google got, wow. Alphabet, Google got downgraded from a buy to a hold. Skyworks, there's a bunch of downgrades. Obviously, that's down. And that's about it. Let's go price target changes. Let's see here. Workday target raised. Teladoc target raised. Let's see here. ARM target raised. Bunch of target raises for ARM, even though it's down. AMZN target raised. Viking Therapeutics target lowered. Skyworks target. Bunch of Skyworks target lowers. Qualcomm target lowered. PepsiCo target lowered. I'm not loading that. MicroStrategy target lowered. Mondelez International target lowered. Ford target lowered. Enphase target lowered. Wow, a lot of target lowers today. Um, Bluebird target lowered. And that's it. Alrighty. I think we're ready for daily charts. Just give me a sec while I pull that up. Alright. It's good old SPY. Alright. Well, lower high, right? People buying dips. And you can see the market kind of almost pulled back to the 50-day moving average and then just broke the previous day's highs. Right now you're kind of in the middle of this balance area here. Where are we at now? 605.35. 605.35. We're gapping up. So you got a gap up happening. Next big level, 608.43. Okay. You can see also, this is last week's lows, last week's highs. We're in the middle of last week. In the middle. See right here? We're in the middle of last week's range. Okay. Let's look at futures. All right. So in futures, see this balance area. We're in the middle of that right now. It's not the best area to be in. Okay. But we have lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Okay. We're above the 50, the 9 EMA, the 20. All right. So above all moving averages. And yeah, that's looking at future. Now the next stop, you know, you could probably get to maybe 61.47. I don't know if that happens today. Let's look. Expected move today is 59.31 points. Roughly brings you almost to this level. I don't know if that happens today. Okay, we've been moving up pretty nicely. Let's see. All right, in Qs. Now the Qs, same thing. Lower high, lower high, lower high. Over to anchor VWAP for the year. Over to 50 to 20. Over to 90 EMA. So now you're over all moving averages. Okay, took out the previous day's highs. And now, like, you had this big gap right here that was filled. However, you had this big selling excess here. So this big level here is around 531. Call it 530. All right, and you're in the middle of that little balance area here. Happens to also be last week's highs. So that could be a player today if we go up. There's last week's highs and lows. Now notice the NASDAQ is higher up in last week's range than the ES. ES is in the middle of last week's range. All right, so where are we at now? 526, 526.90. Let's call it 526.90. We're pretty much at the highs of yesterday. So for today, the ES is gapping up and the Qs are at the highs. Nothing bearish about that, but it's just the ES is gapping up, the NASDAQ is not. All right, so let's look at futures. So you can see here, this is just a mess, right? And now we've got bought up over the 9, the 50 to 20 simple moving average. And look, there's yesterday's highs, the full session. We went above it, and now we're kind of have a doji candle here, right? So have to see. Now you could push up. Like I said, this is last week's highs around 21969. Another level at 22092. So keep that in mind. All right. Now, moving on. We get that triple headed monster going. We got that triple headed monster. Let's look at that 10-year yield, that tricky 10-year yield. And we have 4.8 has been high, and now we've been trending lower. Like swing high, big move down, right? We finally broke that 4.51 and we're coming down to 4.38, right? Like I said, it's tricky because either people fear something's going to happen, they buy bonds, yields go down, or people go like start uh, people start looking at assets to put risk on again because now the 10-year is not as attractive. So it could go both ways. Who knows? But we are in a Fed that's cutting. So have to see, right? Let's look at that dollar. That dollar, let's look at the dollar, right? The dollar usually is fine on the 10-year yield. It came all the way up, and now it's getting some love today. Might hit this support level here, so just have to see what the dollar is doing. It looks a little different from the 10-year yield. All right, so the VIX here, we are at an 15 VIX, 15.85, but you can see this week volatility and fear is going away. Okay, we're already here, still decent around a 16. That's a 1% expected move plus or minus in the SP 500. So should be not bad for ranges for volatility. Okay, I think we can move on now to the main event I like to call it. That's your Nasdaq and the ES futures analysis. Okay, let's look at that together. We're at our ES. Okay, this is your market profile, volume profile. Okay, I'm gonna expand this a little bit, and let's look at yesterday. Painful. It's gonna be painful for me to look at this. Oh, painful. All right. So yesterday, this was my perfect setup, boy. Perfect setup. This demand, I expanded it, but the demand was actually right. The tip of it was like right here, this demand zone from yesterday, right? And then you had the most traded price of the month in the year here. And let's see if I can bring up my Discord. I'm going to show you my Discord and what I wrote. I have this section called Trader Reflections, right? Let's put it right here, okay? And I want to show you exactly what I saw yesterday. All right, I posted this in my Discord. All right, so I saw this big volume. Look, large selling volume into demand. So it came into this demand zone right here. That's one thing I like. The next thing, it's in demand. The next thing, it was this big level right here, the most traded price of the year, the most traded price of the month, right? And internals weren't that weak. Plus, what else did we have? Gamma flip point, double gamma flip point support. Right here, 521 in the Qs and 599 0 DTE gamma flip point in the SPY. Whenever that happens, that's my favorite setup. That's my favorite setup to do because usually you get a rip back up. Okay? And you did. However, when I entered here, these candles were so volatile. However, I didn't really get any ticks that were negative, so usually I stay in it. And when I entered, it like literally went up. I think I entered right here in this candle. It went all the way up, and then look, whoop. When I got this move, I think it was like 6 points, maybe 6 points, I think. And I was like, oh, this looks nice. Okay, let me bring it to break even. And then whipped out. I actually re-entered and got whipped out. I think I was a little higher. I got whipped out on this candle. And then I was like, oh. And then look what happened the rest of the day. Boy, that hurts, right? All right, getting back to the main event here. hopefully shed some light on that, because yeah, I had a little red day yesterday. But my favorite setup was there, and I would be should be telling you, oh, I caught the low here and took the profit off all the way up there. That's what I should be telling you today. You know, you always have to take a lesson from these days like this. Okay, so let's look at let's look at levels. Okay, now most traded price of the week is around 60.62 right there. All right, most traded price of yesterday is right here. That level is 60.76. Okay, now you see we're gapping up. Now, very important to note that profile. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Big demand zone right here. Lines up with the most traded price of the year and the most traded price of the month. Also, anchor VWAP for the month and the week. Okay, those are the levels that I'm looking at. All right, all as well as gap fill 60.89 happens to be the close of yesterday, and the close of yesterday has an incomplete profile. Actually, it's a weak high right here that should get corrected. This does not count as corrected. Okay, so let's go over gap rules. So 60, 80, what did I say? 60, 88 or 80, 89 is gap fill. So let's talk about gap rules real quick. Number one, most bullish is a gap and go. Number two is a failure to fill the gap and go. Number three is a fill the gap and go. And number four just means the buyer's not as strong as we thought and it starts to go back into range. Doesn't mean it can't get bought, just means it's not the most bullish. Okay, so those are gap rules. Okay, now I want to point out a couple things here. All right, we are almost 100% net short in the overnight, so this is the only short activity to this much long activity, and you're at the highs. Okay, and you can see here the support of this level here, and you can see here low, higher low, higher low, higher low, actually still a higher low, and a higher low. Okay, so we've been getting bought up. We've been getting bought up. Now if we look at this profile, okay, it's very incomplete to the downside. Okay, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, look at how much support has held here at 60.86, basically gap fill. So what I'm thinking, okay, is what if we test this again, right? Everybody's long in the overnight. What if we go up and test that again, right? Well, I'm thinking we probably test this demand and the most traded price of yesterday. Okay, if you get through this volume, you have, oh, I didn't see single prints right there. And if you go through that most traded price of the week, okay, we might have something here. Okay, hopefully you see why I'm saying that, right? Now, as far as so that has a very incomplete profile to the downside. Now, this from yesterday's session has an incomplete profile to the upside. You really can't see it as good. Right here. Okay. All right. So, let's look at our scenarios. Why don't we look at some scenarios, okay? Okay. Now, let's start with the bull case. All right. So, 60.89 is gap fill. Okay, and that's all that support you have here in the overnight, right? And we are in supply. We are in supply. You have an unfilled gap. You know, let me put something really quickly. I just want to put some single prints because I forgot to add that. Let's do this. I want to move them into the range right there. There's single prints. I want to make sure I know that they're there. And I have a preset here. All right. Now they're on my chart. Beautiful. Beautiful. So let's get back to the scenarios. I just wanted to put that on my chart. All right. Now, gap fill's here. That support's here. So what could we do? We're up here. All right. And if we push up, now this is supply all the way. There's a lot of supply here. So anywhere in here, maybe even the bottom of this gap, I don't even know if it gets that high. But if you come through that open and you start making, you go through the most trader price of the overnight around 60.96, right? What's going to happen with all these longs, right? And you got that incomplete profile and you got that big support level right here. If it breaks, well, I'm giving you a bear scenario here. Hold on. Let's start over. Gap fill here. We could push up, come through, hit the gap fill, bounce up, and then work ourselves up. Okay. This is sorry about that. This still can correct, but I'm not going to make it correct that much. Okay. This is the close. It could bounce right off of it and take off. Okay. That's number one. Number two, could do the same thing. Get that corrective move right into the, you could bounce off the most trader price of yesterday. You can come down here and bounce off the most trader price of the week. Now, be honest with you, I think that's probably the most I'm interested in to go long. Now, as far as bear, let's go and draw that correctly now. All right, you have gap fill. We have a supply zone right here. We have an unfilled gap right here. So, if the market opens and gives you a nice little push up, but then comes through the open, right? Most trader price 50, 60, 90, 60 overnight. If you go through that, what I believe is that should accelerate selling to try to break this incomplete profile, right? That 60.86. There a ton of support there. If it doesn't get defended, you're going to rip through that and you're going to go right into this demand, right into yesterday's most traded price. Okay? Now, it's demand. You might get a little pop, but if you do one of these, go through the single prints of yesterday and the most traded price, you start holding. There's a big demand zone here, but you could go down and maybe test the most traded price of this year, which is 60.25. Now, of course, if you break that, it could go all cascade down, but I don't see that happening, but you got to put it there. Okay? You have to put it there. That's really what I'm interested in. All right? I think that's a nice play. It's not always easy to trade that play. That setup. It's not easy because it's fast. I always tell myself in the future, anytime I see that and I'm like waiting and waiting in the beginning of a session, it happens so fast that I think I might have to scale in. I might try scaling in maybe a quarter, a half a position. Watch it. Don't put too much risk on it. If it does what I want, then scale more in. I think that's what I might do. Anyway, let's move on to the NASDAQ. Now remember, the NASDAQ, last time we looked at it, was not gapping up. Okay, here we are. NASDAQ. Now, NASDAQ members in ultimate balance. That's why you had a nice move here. Push up, right? We're really not out of the woods yet. Okay? So, let's look at some levels. All right, now we have ultimate balance. We have the most traded price of the week is 216.50. The most traded price of the month is 216. Okay, we have a bunch of demand all above here. Okay, all above here. Now, we are not gapping up. We made an overnight high. And the difference is with the NASDAQ, right? It's the profile is very balanced. It's not like the ES where it's incomplete to the downside. All right. closed at the highs yesterday, right here. Okay, you have supply zone right here. We're in this supply, right? I think this is a 12-hour supply zone. All right. Profile, you got like excess to the downside. Now you got this big value area, and then we have some excess to the top. Okay. Now structurally, as long as you stay above these two levels, it's bullish. Okay. The minute we go under here, start accepting value under here, that's bearish. Okay. Okay. Now let's look. Now also look. Here's the open. This went long to this went short. That's a balanced profile. You don't have the edge like you do in the ES. Okay. You don't have that. Okay. Now what we do have is a couple important levels here. Now I'm going to open this up a little more so we can get a little more closer look here. Okay. What we do have is a confluence low. Look at the overnight low. Where did that overnight low go into? Demand zone, most traded price of yesterday, right? So now that becomes a confluence low, because if you just got bought up, right? So now you know you have longs from yesterday here, longs from overnight. Come back here, and if you can break that, you can push down. If you defend it, obviously you can go back up. So it's both ways. Okay, it's both ways. So as far as the Nasdaq, big supply here. So, and you're in the middle of the session of the overnight at the most traded price at 217.72. Okay, very important here that if we lose that, I might not get my setup. All right, so let's just do scenarios here. Okay, because I'm seeing it's 9:07 and I'm already usually setting up for the day. So let's do the Nasdaq scenarios. We're getting really close to the open now. All right, we're going to start with the bull. Okay, so what I'm looking at here, this confluence low, 217.08, most traded price yesterday, and the overnight low, and you have this demand. I would, if the market's not that weak and we push down, correct, right into this area, I want to see what we do. If we do some higher lows, we can move up, break that overnight high, and go up to this naked VPOC of 219. Okay, now we also have this area here, which gets really tricky. But if it gets defended and the market's not that weak, and you come in here and you bounce out, hold, we can melt up. I don't know how we go. That's it. That's all I'm interested in, really, for the long side. Okay. As far as the shorts, let's do the bear side. Bear side, you got this big supply zone here. Okay, this is probably a problem. It's 12-hour supply zone. It's pretty powerful, right? So what we could do is open up, push up, maybe tap the overnight highs. If you come through, this could come through this most traded price, cause a correction, got thin volume here. You come down to where? That confluence low we talked about. Okay, if you break that and break this demand, you're going to be tested with this huge level, the most traded price basically of this month and the rolling week. There's a lot of demand in here, so I don't know if you break through this. You might just come in here and balance out for the day. Remember, you got non-farm payrolls, unemployment tomorrow. Now, if you break that and hold, yeah, we're going to come down and test probably a month-to-day, week-to-day VWAP up to 1463. So that's what I'm looking for as far as that. And that will do it for me today. All right, everybody, there's the analysis for today. All right, so hopefully you join me every day. Subscribe, set an alert. That would be much appreciated. Of course, always smash that like button if you enjoyed what I had to say. And as always, the new community. Oh, that's my Elfie. That was the wrong button. That's Elfie. I haven't had to talk about him in a while. Confluence Trading. That's my Discord server. Please come join. Come join me today. I will go live today and interact with me. Okay, and see how I read the markets. All right. Now, everybody have a great day. No trade to trade. Stay green. And let's have a green day. Exactly, G-Man. All right. And hopefully, maybe G-Man, I'll see you in the server and hope to see some new people join. As always, take it easy. I'll see everybody tomorrow.